One of the topics that's sure to be a major focus at tonight's debate here at Washington University is the relationship between the police and the African-American community. It was 2 years ago that Michael Brown was killed by police officers, sparking outrage in Ferguson, Missouri, just a couple of miles from where we're sitting right now. That deep divide still exists in many cities today. We sent Pete Hegseth into St. Louis to show how people view the police here.
That's right. No, we were out yesterday, talked to the police chief. There's definitely still a divide in this city and across the country. My first stop was to the St. Louis Police headquarters, where I caught up with the police chief, Samuel Dobson, to find out how his officers are dealing with the rise in tensions. After that, we hit the street. Take a look. How are your relations, this department's relations, with the Black Lives Matter movement?
So over the last 2 years, really after Ferguson, we've made a conscious effort to really invest in improving that dialogue. I think Ferguson made the law enforcement profession around the country realize how big the rift was in some communities, and especially communities of color.
There are people that say, hey, why are we really putting the fault then on the officer, that somehow they have this bias they're not aware of, and overcompensating as a result?
You know, I'm a big believer that training and education help solve a lot of our problems. So there are things when you were growing up that you were programmed with that you may not even know that are there. And for our African-American officers, we just don't take white officers through implicit bias. We take the whole department through implicit bias.
A couple of years ago, Michael Brown famously, the phrase that came out of it was hands up, don't shoot. But then an investigation revealed that that never happened. Do you feel like there's a frustration in your force from police officers that the narrative upon which this whole thing has developed is not a fact-based narrative?
Oh, it is. But I don't want to get stuck on that. What I want to get focused on is that the conversation is happening now. We had an officer-involved shooting here in St. Louis a week ago Sunday. I walked into a neighborhood and met with people in the neighborhood and said, this is what I know right now. Here are the facts. I think that helps. So we've learned as a profession, the more information we can share, the more quickly it fills a void that's there. So this is one of our cameras. These are the cameras that we put out into our community. And I'm a big proponent of having eyes in a neighborhood or on a business district, but I want people to know that they're there. Not only do I want to see what's going on, I want it to be a deterrent. So the cameras like this let the bad guys know that we're there and let the community know that we have a presence there. This is an example of a march that occurred in the city where we had cameras in the area, and so we were able to monitor it. It does a couple of things. One, it gives us multiple angles and perspective. It helps keep officers out of view, out of sight, to help keep tensions low, and then we're staged and ready to respond if we need to.
This moment right now, what does it represent?
So as I said, I have about 4 years in the job as chief. I'll talk to chiefs that have 7, 8, 10 years. They have never seen a more difficult time to be a police officer than right now. And it's a combination of Ferguson, Charlotte, Minneapolis, Chicago. It's a combination.
We had a chance to talk to the chief at police headquarters. Now we're hitting the streets of St. Louis to get a sense of how people feel about police relations.
I know that Ferguson is trying to implement new practices and trying to give their officers some diversity training, but it's very tense. It's still strained.
Most definitely got worse.
And why is that?
Well, not just in Ferguson, everywhere over St. Louis it got worse. Because, every cop, it seems like every cop the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though they say different words, they still feel like they're the same.
Is it Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, or All Lives Matter?
All lives matters. All lives.
I don't believe in Black Lives Matter at all.
I think that there shouldn't be an organization or a group that says that lives matter. We're all human beings. We're all in this world living, trying to make a little piece of happiness while we're here.
The St. Louis Police Department is clearly trying to engage. They even have purchased an ice cream truck that they're going into difficult neighborhoods to give away. Yeah, they are, but there's still a great deal of tension, no doubt.
Sure, absolutely. All right, Pete, thank you.